Hey, I'm Thomas from Believe in the Run.
And this is Robbie from Believe in the Run.
And today we're talking about 2020's best stability trainer.
Wow.
I'm throwing it out there right in the beginning.
Throwing it there.
The ASICS GEL-Kayano Lite. So Robbie, this has a lot of fun features, especially if you're comparing it to the regular Kayano. The Kayano 27, which we reviewed, is what I would call the traditional version of the stability shoe.
Yeah, that has a lot of features. I wouldn't call them fun.
Visible technology all over the place.
Yeah, so as stability shoes have progressed over the years, it's gotten a little out of hand in some ways where it's almost like a scaffolding around your foot instead of just wearing a damn shoe.
You had a plastic cup on the heel. You had a Trusstic system underneath to keep it rigid. You had dual foam densities posting up here. So this back end didn't move at all. It was just like solid. So your front, you were lucky that you got a little bit of bend out of it.
It's like Thomas's back end.
Yeah, it's like, moving. Anyway, it just really locked us in. So good folks at ASICS, they look into the future and they're like, what's it gonna look like? And they knew not everybody's ready to abandon everything. So you can still get the Kayano 27 if that's your
cup of tea.
Yeah, cup of tea. But we're gonna say, throw that sucker out the window, because the Kayano Light, which weighs almost 1.6 ounces less than the regular Kayano.
It's changing the game.
Yeah.
And we've seen this kind of progressing throughout the shoe industry a little bit. You had the Nike React Infinity, which is kind of a stability shoe mixed with a neutral daily trainer.
I actually think this does a better job than the Nike. Yeah,
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't love the React Infinity.
Well, let's start with one thing that's good on here that wasn't good on the React necessarily. Let's go with the upper. You know what's nice about this upper? You can feel good about it. You know why?
Because you're gonna feel good in it?
No, 80% recycled material in the upper alone. This shoe is not only stable, it's ecologically conscious.
I think, economically might be a stretch.
Yeah, but it's definitely green.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go over this a little bit. You've got an engineered mesh that pretty much wraps the foot 3D. There's not a ton of overlays. All that stuff that you're used to in the regular Kayano, stripped out, like we said. There's no plastic heel counter here. I mean, there is a rigid heel counter in here that's more like a traditional road shoe. You've got a little bit of overlays locking you in. This, actually, the ASICS logo acts as your medial and lateral lockdown over the arch, and you've got a little bit of stitching, but other than that, it's a pretty clean upper. What about the comfort features, Rob?
Well, you have a nicely padded tongue, also not gusseted.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna.
It works all right in this one.
It actually.
I would like
fine.
a gusset, but it's working fine. It saves a couple grams.
Yeah. But otherwise, like you said, the padded heel collar, everything makes it pretty comfortable.
Yeah, this is a comfort shoe. And what I like that ASICS done here is their tongues used to stick up really high, and they either have been watching our videos or somebody there was like, hey, our tongues are ridiculous. Let's make them smaller. And they did that, and it works better. You can kind of see how it blends in there with the overall feel instead of popping up and creating like a spoiler in the front of the shoe.
You got some flat laces here that are a little thicker, but they're gonna provide a good lockdown.
They're pretty standard, but they work.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get down to the magic.
Yeah, let's start doing some magic stuff.
Did something happen?
Hopefully something comes on the screen.
Happened. Okay, so we get down to this flight foam, and this again, ecologically friendly. It's got like cellulose nanofiber technology. Nanofibers.
That's the bulb.
Is that the way you're supposed to say it?
That's how you say it in Balmer.
All right, how do you say it?
We get some
cellular
nanofibers.
You say it the right way.
Cellulose nanofibers.
Yes, enunciation is key.
Yeah, which I'm usually not great at, so that was cool.
But you're like, I don't care if the shoe doesn't feel soft and comfortable. And actually, in this shoe, ASICS has been able to start playing with the flight foam with the cellulose nanofiber, which I'll just call CNF from now on.
CNF, or it's basically the byproduct of sugarcane refining. So who figured that out, by the way?
And also sugar is the byproduct of sugarcane refining, but not in the shoe.
My body is a byproduct of sugarcane.
So the foam works like the foam should, and ASICS has been working with it for now, so it can come in different densities, where before they were having a little bit of trouble figuring out how to get the durometer just right in the different shoes. So you're looking at the Nimbus Light and the Meta Racer have a very similar durometer in their flight foam. Well, this is the first shoe where they're like, we can play with that, get it a different firmness. And why that's important in this shoe is because it creates the platform for your stability run. Now, there aren't dual densities to the foam in this. This is one solid block. But it was computer generated, has these little pillars inside that are specific to men's and women's.
And we can't forget, it is a gel shoe, so there is gel.
Yeah, you have a little gel right
Just
under the knuckle of your big toe, just to give you that nice push off and readjust your foot when you're coming out. So it still is gel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not like the huge slabs and pockets you're gonna find past the shoes of the shoe.
Can you tell people how they achieve stability in the shoe that matches the Kayano 27 without all that gimmickry?
Sure, yeah, so instead of the Trusstic system and plastic pieces, instead they took a look at the geometry of the midsole and worked to form it so that it's more conducive to a stability runner, but can also work for a neutral runner. So you got, in the design of the midsole, you can obviously see it's a fairly wide base. So it's going to give you some nice platform at ground contact. You got some flare outs here that you'll see coming out onto the sides of the shoe, on the lateral side, and even a little bit on the medial. And then just the outsole in general, you got this rubber here that's going to grip very well, provide good traction.
Full contact.
Full contact. Yeah, so overall it's like it's a more stripped down, kind of just like forward thinking way of providing stability that'll work for everyone, really.
Yeah, and it is still visible because you can see in the design of the shoe where the heel flares out here and how the structure is going to be help provide that stability through the heel here. Laterally, it comes out a little further on this edge, so that kind of keeps your foot taking off in the most optimum way. And that's why the gel's up here, is because as you're rolling through, you're readjusting your foot and coming down. You're gonna see the higher posting on this side. It's not a different density foam like we talked about before, but what it does do is create that structure on this side that flows you through and helps you if you're gonna pronate or come down on this side. So it does a really nice job. And the best part is, for me, I don't need a stability shoe. And as a matter of fact, when I run in something like the Kayano, it slaps my foot back into place.
Yeah, so like when you were first getting the shoe, you weren't sure if you were gonna like it because you're not a stability runner per se. If you do review something like the Kayano 27, you do your miles in the shoe, and then it's like, that is what it is. There's a review done. So you were pretty surprised by this, right?
Yeah, I liked it because even though it has the stability and you can feel it's stable, it doesn't interfere with your stride. So in some shoes, I feel like when you come down, if it's a stability shoe, it locks you back into place, which tweaks my knee over time because it keeps slapping it into like one guide of your run for your foot location.
Like you're on the rails,
Yeah.
This is where it goes.
This one I felt like it feels like a neutral shoe that for someone who doesn't need it. And then for somebody who needs a stability, it comes through with stability. So I really liked it. It was smooth through the transitions. The toe actually has some flex in it, so you can actually get a pretty nice ground feel. And it still had enough cushion that it kind of reminded me of the Clifton Edge a little bit in the fact, but the Clifton Edge, also we talked about that being a little bit like a stability shoe. Clifton Edge, I felt, did also overcorrect some of my stride because the heel was so wide.
In the wide base, yeah, for sure.
But this one did a really nice job. And that's why when I said at the beginning of this is probably the best stability trainer of 2020. We've tried a bunch of shoes this year. I've ran in stability shoes even when I didn't feel like running in stability shoes. And this one was an enjoyable shoe all the way around. So I would say if you're looking for stability and you're looking for something new and fresh from ASICS,
right here,
this is it.
Now the price point on it is a little high, but it's also like in line for stability shoes. It's $160.
It's $160, but again, durability, you've got plenty of rubber here on the bottom. And while this one is lighter, my size 10.5 weighs in at 305 grams and 10.76 ounces. So it's not ultralight, but it is under 11 ounces for a stability shoe. And I do feel like you're gonna get your miles out of this shoe.
Yeah, and I think we said in the beginning this is like an ounce and a half lighter than the original Kayano.
Yeah, the original Kayano was close to 11.9 ounces. So for the same size, 10 and a half. This fits true to size. Now, one thing that's different between the men's and the women's, besides of some of the geometry of the pillars inside the shoe, what's the drop on that?
Yeah, so the women's drop is actually 13 millimeters. So
the men's is 10. And why'd they say that you needed the extra millimeters for women?
So they noticed in the biomechanics of women that there tends to be more stress on the Achilles overall. So obviously with a higher drop, you're gonna get less stress on that tendon. Yeah. So that's why there's a different drop in these.
So let's cover that. The shoe cares about the environment, cares about stability,
so much.
And it cares about women's Achilles.
I mean,
it's the most caring shoe ever.
It's
like you should sleep with this in your
It could be your Care Bear.
Yeah.
You just cuddle up to this thing
and then run in it in the morning. So yeah, I think people are gonna dig it. Check it out. We'll put links in the bio, or no, we won't. We'll put links in the description for you to go get yourself this shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you're kind, you might as well hit that like button. Subscribe to us on YouTube.
Follow us on Instagram, join our Strava club, do all the things.
Yeah, we got a Facebook group, and we've got a new podcast that we really enjoy doing, which is called The Drop, and it's available on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast.
Yep. Cool. So yeah, check it out. Stay tuned for more shoe reviews. Peace.